Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Ernie C, the Gap Tooth Genius, and I'm back for episode 157 of Keep Grinding the podcast. And I am joined by a very, very special guest, Mr. Edward Robinson, president, founder of the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce. My guy.
Thanks for having me today.
I'm glad you're here, man. I'm bright and early.
Yeah, bright and early.
I love punctuality. And dude, he walked in today. I'm like, oh man. I didn't confirm last night. My producer sat out, but I'm like, we're gonna knock it out. We got set up in less than 9 minutes. I'm honored to have you on, Ed. How you doing, sir?
I'm honored. I'm good, man. Didn't have any coffee yet, but I did do my morning PT in the Army. We call that physical training. I did some push-ups, some sit-ups. I do about 30 minutes of stretches. And, because my back is jacked up from the Army days. But, did all that and got my morning routine in, meditation. And so here I am, honored to be with you as well.
I'm honored to have you, man. And, the last few months, maybe the last year since your last birthday. When's your birthday, sir?
August 24th.
So it's almost been a year because I did your birthday last year. That's when I met you.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of good things business-wise and in the community. And you establish the Kern County Chambers, Veterans Chamber of Commerce here in Kern County, and I really, really enjoy being part of this ride with you, man. And that's kind of where we should start at, I think.
Yeah.
I want to just tell your story from the beginning, where you're at now, because now that I'm a part of your team and a part of your goal and your mission, and that's really to bring these resources to veterans here in Kern County. How did you get started on that? When did you enlist in the military? Thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you.
And just your story about that, Ed.
Man, well, first I just want to thank you for always supporting myself, the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce, and my wife's agency, Myra Media Group.
Of course.
They do strategic branding and experiences. And so, he's being very modest. He's been a very creative and prompt, highly professional DJ that provides that entertainment and sets the mood for all of our events. So thank you for that.
No problem.
But it's really difficult to find somebody that you trust to work with.
Definitely.
You don't know if people are overcharging you. You don't know if they're going to be prompt or if that professionalism is going to be there. And then, of course, there's the customer engagement experience or the client engagement experience. You don't know. You want to make sure that your clients and the people that you're serving, that the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce are serving, we want to make sure that you're going to give them the right vibe as well. Not only are you providing a service to me, you're providing it to my clients.
Definitely.
So I'm happy that we can trust that the level of professionalism that you provide is just unmatched. We've worked with other DJs and they were great, but you're definitely the man.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you for that.
No problem. Hey, I never served in the military, but I have a lot of family who has, committed that service to our country. Like I said, my grandfather was in the Korean War, served his time. I got one of my mentors, cousins, just retired from the Navy, so I'm familiar. I'm familiar with your service to our country, man. And to be a part of this really, really means a lot. And I'm engaging with the customers. That's kind of why I am where I'm at, because I treat people the way they deserve to be treated. And I know that you guys believe in me. I try to treat every gig like it's the first gig, man. And there's always sometimes we hit some little hiccups. We see too. Sometimes we can't put the music up the way we want to.
Right.
And sometimes we can. We have some restrictions on this, which I get, but we always try to salvage it and just make it the best it can be. And I'm glad that I'm able to be a part of that. And it means a lot. And just meeting the people who come to your events and just seeing that they're entrepreneurs like myself and they're looking for resources to grow, and that's what we were just talking about the podcast. We just want it to grow, and I think that's the goal of every business entrepreneur. Everybody, female, male, just doesn't, whatever you want to put your passion into, you want to see your baby grow.
Right.
And I'm really enjoying being a part of that, because I've never done that before, to be honest with you, bro. Never had this experience. Never had this. I never really been a part of something like that. So I'm really honored to be here, man.
Well, it's your time, my brother, and I'm a firm believer of Newton's law of energy and motion. So when you put certain energy and motion into the universe, there is a reciprocal effect, almost like a boomerang,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it moves around, and it's going to come back to you with more viscosity, more intensity than you put it out into the world.
Definitely,
So
definitely,
I think it's mindful, or it's important to be mindful of what we put out in the world. And
definitely.
you put a lot of positivity out in the world through this platform, through your engagement. That's something that I find highly valuable, and that's essentially what I try and do or replicate. That's kind of my mantra is put good out into the world so that good comes back. Right?
Definitely.
Good comes back to me. Good comes back to the people that are around me. But essentially, that's where the social servant was originated. That's my community social work practice that I founded in March of 2021. Started it out, delivering newspapers, but I've always had this idea that, man, social workers should promulgate themselves just like attorneys and
Mm-hmm.
CPAs do.
Mm-hmm.
People need help, and you can't always receive the level of attention that you need from the county social service offices because they're just inundated with the requests. They have the state reporting standards. It's very data driven. It's not strengths based or engagement driven.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so they're doing a job. They're processing a case. Bam, bam, bam.
Just
That's
cover,
that. It's
dotting the i's, crossing
yeah.
the t's. That's it.
And they have policy for this funding and this
Mm-hmm.
pot of funding that's paying for their job. And if you want to keep this job and pay your bills, then you better follow the policy. It's not necessarily the way it is, but it can become that way in some
Mm-hmm.
of those settings, especially in social services.
Mm-hmm.
So I found issue with that, and I said to myself, I'm going to be different. And I started at the Kern County Aging and Adult Services Department in 2018, just fresh out of undergrad. And, I was processing the cases for in-home supportive services.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever someone needed assistance, I would go in based on the policy. I would look, they would report what they needed. I would look at their meds, and then I would authorize time for that person to receive in-home care.
Mm-hmm.
And then oftentimes there would be a client that didn't have many uh, relatives or people around them that could help them.
Definitely.
So then we'd have to go down that path of are you able to safely take care
Take
of
care of
yourself?
yourself.
Are you at risk of
Mm-hmm.
neglect, or okay, does this person retain the propensity to care for themselves and make be oriented, make safe decisions and
Definitely.
choices, or is this neglectful and a byproduct or a mental health condition?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to assess all that, and you realize when you're looking at the policies and the rubric for the assessment that, okay, clearly somebody put this together, but it might not have been a therapist.
Yeah, someone who was in the field.
Right,
Definitely.
right. It
Mm-hmm.
might not have been somebody that actually understood that, like, people are different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody can't fit this criteria, and so sometimes you have denials. You have to deny somebody. Sometimes you might approve somebody. You deny somebody based on an assessment or perception of no need,
Mm-hmm.
and then they end up passing away a few days
I'm
later.
sure there's even times that the time that was allocated and approved wasn't even efficient for their condition. I've seen that too working at previous spots. Like, we're approving the max, but the max is still not enough for their
Yeah.
condition, what they need, because they are by themselves. They're fall risk, and they're alone. It's like 24 hours in a day. Having 8 hours a week is not sufficient at times, and that's no. You're right. 100. There is a problem there. I
Yeah.
believe. Yes.
So that's what I found myself doing is kind of taking a step back and saying, all right, I'm going to be different. When I'm engaging with people,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to actually engage in what they're showing me and what they're giving me, because I think sometimes we just start talking to people, and you don't really realize the conversation you're having. It can be so quick and sensitive that oftentimes you just don't realize
Yeah, definitely.
what we're really talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really how I began the social servant, and worked that job from 2018 to 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I want to say 2022. And eventually I said, you know what, I want to start this agency myself. I want to start something myself and kind of create a different method of service delivery and delivering social services. I want people to leave from meeting with me feeling better and empowered and like, okay, we can do it. Not like, all right, I just got that money. Now what other money can I get?
What
You
can
know
I
what I
get?
mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
no, I wanted people to, I wanted to
Yes.
address the root causes of some of the barriers and issues that people were dealing with. So started the social servant, and the idea behind it was that you could either, you could support this effort and fund it, donate to it, and then as a social servant, I would go and deliver the support that you like. Like at first, that was the concept, and then it evolved to social servant. This could be an entirely different occupation. This could be an occupation. So this could be the new social worker that is more mindful, right?
Who's in the field, who's seen everyday regular people.
Right. And you're able to work for yourself. You can, there's a lot of things you can do. Register as a lobbyist, register as a legal document assistant, a notary public. You can do a lot of things on your own, but the key is it's going to be your branding and getting yourself out there. And that's where I started running into the issue. So, I figured that out, got out there, and I said, all right, I got to get funding. Wrote a grant as a part of a class to Kern Health Systems, and initially I asked them for $380,000. In 2023, they ended up awarding me $200,000.
Oh man, it's big. That's a lot. That's still great money.
Yeah,
For sure.
For this being my first stab at it, and being a LLC, right? You're generally not making that kind of money after 2 years of existence, and so I was feeling pretty good, and I'm like, all right, time to go. So the idea was that since people in need, the number one barrier is generally transportation.
Yes, it is.
That I would take the support to them, right, in order to show this kind of sensitivity. But there's costs with that, right? I wanted to get a big old moving office as a mobile clinic. So that's a Mercedes Sprinter, right? Mercedes Sprinters take diesel.
Oh, yeah.
And you driving around the county.
Oh, yeah.
All right, up there in Mojave, and you the only one, and you coming from Bakersfield to Mojave, and so it pretty much began to kind of roll out that the word was getting out because this was such an important resource.
And people don't even think about the burden it is to travel from Mojave to Bakersfield to get the services, because in that area there are no services.
Oh, yeah.
At least the ones that are going to be, maybe they're subpar in that area, but this area is going to be a little bit better for them. But to get here every day is not easy.
Yeah.
And again, just being from where I was employed previously, I experienced that, like going from California City, these rural areas around Bakersfield, they need that resource, and that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
There are some service providers out there, and let me tell you, they're doing the best that they can out in those areas. They do have their systems, they do have their support in those areas, but the issue is access. So a lot of those people are off the grid. The people that live in those areas, they're off the grid. So that may mean limited access to data, Wi-Fi, the net. That may mean mail delays. That may mean transportation barriers. All kinds of things. Not to mention if the power's on or off, AC. Your condition or quality of life. All these things can have an impact on whether or not you seek out or attempt to access support.
Definitely.
So that's where the idea came is I'm going to help no matter what. I'm going to bypass that barrier. But the key is I would have needed a fleet. That's always been the goal, is to scale that. But that's a much larger effort, right? So the social servant exists now, but more so in the aspect of, hey, call me, you need some assistance. Bam, I'll plug you in with the resource.
Help guide you, yes.
You need you're trying to, if you got somebody if you're a homeowner and you're trying to change the deed, the name of your deed, then I can help you with that.
Definitely.
You homeowner, you're trying to evict somebody. If you're a person dealing with an eviction, I can help you fight that. Not giving legal advice, but certain
guide them the right way who can help them with that issue. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
the social servant, just here to serve and provide hands-on, results-oriented leadership.
Awesome.
So that really coincides with the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce, right? Because I am a veteran, Army veteran, served 8 years in the United States Army Infantry. And, you know, first duty station, basic training was out of Fort Benning, Georgia. And I tell you what, man, it is hot out there.
Is it?
Oh my gosh. It is super hot. They got those fire ants. The ants are everywhere, man.
Where were you originally from, Ed? What your hometown?
Yes.
Yeah,
Detroit.
what's it was Detroit? Okay, Detroit. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Detroit, Michigan. That's where I was born, and so that's where I joined from.
What made you want to join the military? What was your that moment like I want to serve my country?
Yeah, I was homeless actually. I joined.
Okay.
I joined just so I could get a job, man. So I could get off the street, And record was clean, and I was good to go, and so joined just to get a job or get something going.
When did that light bulb hit? Like, oh, I could join. They're gonna help be able to give me the resources I need right now in the current state that I'm in. What was that journey like?
That was more, having a positive influence. So having somebody that was positive, like my youth pastor, he was an Army vet.
Okay.
He recommended it based on having knowledge of my situation.
Definitely.
And then we moved in that direction.
And so when you said you enlisted, and let's go back to you said it was hot. How was that journey for your 8 years? And we don't got to go into super duper details. I know
it's fine.
If that how was that journey for you? Your military journey?
Oh, my military journey. It was a great journey. It wasn't always great, right? It's not easy, and I think a lot of people think because they work out that they're going to be good soldiers. No, that's not how it works, And so you need to have the capacity to follow orders, be prompt, pay attention to detail. And really just kind of step up at any given moment to support your comrades, the guy to your left and your right, to follow orders and support the overall well-being of the mission, the unit. Pretty much it's the most, you need to be always moving selflessly.
Yeah, definitely.
And in the Army, there's this acronym for leadership. These are the warrior ethos. So these are things that if you're going to be a soldier, you need to kind of embrace. And the acronym is leadership. It stands for loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage.
Oh man.
So those are the things that if at any given moment you're a soldier, you need to be kind of exemplifying. And so that's the thing. It's really difficult to do because as a civilian, you're coming in with all the life, being homeless, all the stuff that you had beforehand, and now you're not that anymore. It doesn't matter. And so now you have to be who Uncle Sam is training you to be.
Yeah, definitely.
And that is a soldier.
Yes, sir.
And so, a lot of people go in where, I saw a lot of people getting discharged. I saw a lot of, people getting hurt. I also saw people dig deep and become great soldiers. So it just all depends on who you're dealing with. It's definitely for the young guys, right? Yeah.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And personally, I think that all the young folks, I think that right out of high school, need to go do the bare minimum contract.
Yeah, 100%.
If I was the president, I'd be like
4 years.
Everybody, just do the mandatory contract. Get the free college, get some intestinal fortitude, get a little bit of hair on your chest.
It'll teach you some. I'm sure it will teach you responsibility. Like everything you were saying, accountability, responsibility. Just some people need that guidance and structure for sure.
You'll learn the pomp and circumstance. The formal movements and things that you become accustomed to in the military. The ceremonial aspects in garrison, and then in when you're back in theater or deployment. And so.
Did you go on deployment?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't have to share everything. Can you name how many times you were deployed and what area?
Yeah, I've been to Iraq. and been there once, and Diala Province. So I mean, if you haven't been there, you're not gonna know.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
look it up
definitely.
and be like, Diala, ooh,
Yeah, people just, I'm like
yeah,
myself, I'm just seeing, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah,
movies and just kind of seeing on the map and whatever, I guess I see on the mainstream media
yeah.
and whatnot.
Central Iraq,
Okay.
so Central, and I'll say it's like this, man. So if you've ever been on the East Coast, Florida, the heat there is humid.
Yeah, New York in the summertime, DC in the summertime is not fun.
Yeah. Well, the heat in Iraq is like it's like Bakersfield heat, but it's more intense, super dry.
More
It's like if you move, you'll start sweating, but you can actually sit out there and not necessarily sweat.
Oh,
You
man.
can be outside and not. It's just hot, dry. You just like, man, you go outside like, man. So you got to get conditioned to moving, jogging, lifting something heavy in that heat because it'll take you out.
How long was your deployment there in Iraq?
You got 12 months, and then I did a additional 3-month tour. So 15 months
15
total.
months total.
But
Yes, sir.
yeah, so the way they do it is normally, at least for the Army. So I don't know about the Navy, Marines, right? But normally you get a 12-month tour, and you can, if there's like a detail or something else, which is what happened in my case, I got attached to this CAV unit. Well, me and a platoon of guys, we got attached to a CAV unit. So that was a different COB. That was an additional 3 months I was there. So they call it your tour of service or tour of duty. Mine was 15 months.
15 months. And how did that, how does that impact you still to this day?
It impacted me in the sense that there's not much that I'm scared of. I'm definitely prepared for, to defend at any time. I would also say, and for personal reasons, I'm not going to get too into
Yeah,
detail,
for sure.
right?
That's why I was,
Because like I
that's why
said,
was kind
there's good, there's bad,
of
and there's
course.
ugly.
Yes, of course, of course.
And of course, you need to go seek therapy. I always recommend that people go and seek out therapy so that they can cope effectively with their things that they're dealing with.
And that's kind of what I wanted to go into too. Was now after your tour of duty, and you did your services for our country. With the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce, your resources that you after your service, did you say like, man, these are the resources that people like myself or just got done serving our country, these are the resources we need? What was the journey like that? Kind of just seeing I know I need to hit the mental health. I know I need PT, because the injuries that I've encountered over the years, these things are not really available to us. So how can I make that available to people like me? How was that journey to where we are now?
Well, that's really the same. It's essentially the same thing that I've been doing as the social servant, right? And then I've always been serving as a soldier. So as a soldier, so it went like this: from soldier, then social worker, then now president and CEO of the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce, then founded my own Chamber of Commerce because I knew, right? So it's all essentially service. And, pretty much the service is to people in need, people that were like me, people that might be minorities, people that are protected classes, right? Because, I can identify with being black, knowing what it feels like to not have support or to be on your own. And, so that's essentially what I'm doing now with this Veterans Chamber of Commerce, right? Except for vets. And knowing the number of vets that we have here, we have the most in the state of California, over 32,000. That's essentially what I'm here to do, is say, hey guys, if you had anything close to the experience that I had,
Yes.
then you're probably dealing with some of the things that I deal with, right? Because being in the Army wasn't no cakewalk.
No, of course.
I don't, even if you were a cook, I guarantee you were still dealing with some stuff. I mean, those guys in Iraq, they were dealing with risk because, they were trying to blow up the cafeteria, the DFAC. And so, even if you were a cook, you still faced that risk. You didn't have to be kicking indoors and on the ground like me. you could have just been in the cafeteria or on the fob and faced the risk of indirect fire. You know, and so when that lands next to you, and then the person you was just, you know, walking drinking a Gatorade with is gone because of that, that can change things for you. You know, so as it pertains to the overlying theme of this podcast, to keep grinding,
Yes, sir.
we really want to empower veterans, people in need, people in the community, specifically in Kern County, to stay resilient, keep pushing, right? And know that there's somebody out here that's fighting for you, that isn't the government, that isn't the police, that isn't somebody out here trying to
Get one over on you.
Yeah,
It's like
get
someone,
one over on you.
we're trying to help. Like I see it, these banquets we have once a month. It is, hey, if you come, please come here and let me show you. We have the resources for you and the opportunity to show you that we care, and that's kind of, and I always, when I'm at these banquets with you, I'm always thinking, how do we expand it now? How do we get the word out? And what do you think will be what's the future looking like for the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, right now, we do have a strategic plan and everything, but the most important thing is to love on our members and the people that we engage with. Like I kind of touched on in the beginning, right? I don't want to be so focused on making it something bigger that it's not this authentic and pure experience.
Yes, of course.
So for me, it's about trying to speak with everyone, trying to understand, because the first thing, if you're a vet, the first thing that you kind of want to know is where you been and what's your journey. How you doing, bro? And or sister. And so that's really where you go. You just want to know, what was your MOS? Where were you stationed? You been deployed? What are your things? And that's kind of how it starts out. And once you figure that out, then, you know, you're kind of developing a real friendship based on the fact that you served. And there's a certain level of camaraderie in the service that exists. I mean, it's there, but if you really kind of have to put it in your back pocket when you're out in the world, because the rest of the world doesn't necessarily understand that. They don't acknowledge that.
Definitely.
You can be seen as kind of hyper aggressive or trying to dominate conversations, or you know, these are things that people normally see about veterans. They focus on the PTSD. They focus on the what was your experience in Iraq? You know, like sure, you want to know, right?
Yeah,
for
of
your
course.
story, but you don't understand you know what. That with that comes a lot of honor. There's a lot of strength. There's a lot of resilience, right?
Yes.
And so we got to focus on the interaction, the engagement, and that's where I'm at now. For this year, I want to just be here. Just say, hey, what do you need? You know, and quite frankly, it's pretty satisfying to create something, develop the business plan, put it out there, and you have between 40 to 70 people show up at any given time.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful.
You know, and that's the part right there that's just like, okay, so one, I'm doing something right as far as the corporate strategy is concerned, as far as the strategic goals of it, you know, and the branding, that's effective, right? I don't want this thing to be so big that it's not real, that it can't.
It's not manageable, and
right.
You won't be able to have those personal engagements and relationships with your members.
Yeah,
I think essentially that's what we want.
Because you have some organizations out here that are serving veterans, but I think people question their authenticity and what their motives are. Because what essentially happens is you get all these veterans, you give them the goods, and then they're gone. There's no one there for the ride. You have groups like VFW and American Legion, Veterans of Foreign War, and American Legion, which are essentially support groups, social clubs for veterans, right? And those are powerful because in those numbers, in that collective presence, that can really, there are many voters.
Definitely.
There's a lot of capital there, right? There's a lot of money, especially if they're all veterans, verify
Oh yeah.
that they have an honorable discharge, they're disabled. Okay, well then there's money from the VA each month. Okay, there's post 9/11 benefits that come with that. There's things that the government provides to a veteran with an honorable discharge that can stimulate an economy. And that's what we are harnessing here. And that's what a Chamber of Commerce specifically does, different than a 501c3 or any collaborative that serves, right? There have been some questions of this organization, the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce, if it's actually here for the vets or if this is political or not. You know?
Okay. And how was your response? I think I have the answer to that, but what would be your response to that?
I mean, absolutely not. It's not political.
Not
It's
at all.
it's here to actually advocate and help people utilize some of these benefits that the state of California provides.
I think that's all. From what I telling my wife, like she's asked the same question. Is this a particular party? Are you guys pushing any initiatives? Any any props? I'm like, no. We haven't. We push resources for veterans, and not even people who come to your events are not all of them are veterans. They just want to be a part of the community.
Right.
No, I wouldn't say we're not aligned with anybody. I say we because I'm part of your team. There is no alignment to any party. I think the alignment is who could help us and who could give us the resources, and it doesn't matter what. If there is, it's not a red or blue thing in my opinion. It's a how can we help people thing, and that's what I love about it too, bro. It's not, and if you were even if you were in line with anybody, I'm still rocking with you as a person because I trust you, and we do good business, and I love the vibes we get. We hit it off real fast, especially when I found you from Detroit. I seen your band, your Detroit banner, and we talk about Detroit rappers and music and all that, which we love, right? But no, I agree with that. So how do you establish like no, this is for the people. It's not about a party. It's not about it's not political.
You got to keep it true. You got to keep it true, and I keep it true through being present. So, like for example, if I were here right now and we're talking, and everything is just sounding scripted.
Of course,
everything's coming off a certain way. Sure, right? I could be concerned with how this might rate and view, but that's not real.
No, it's not.
Right? That's keeping it real. That's not going to give you what you need to feel.
Yeah, definitely. No,
didn't mean for that to rhyme.
That's exactly the way it. I don't like a lot of prep. I think everything should be organic. Like this, we didn't have any notes. Just I wanted you to come on and say, "Hey, tell me what's going on. Let's share it with the people. Let's put and you are the face of this, and I know you know that. And it'll be like I was telling Mrs. Robinson, we gotta do more of these type of things. And if I can help you do that, or just this is your first podcast of many, bro, I want to do that. I really want to do that and show that it's authentic, it's genuine, it's coming from a place of exactly what these people are going through and the help they need, and you just want to facilitate that. And there's not a lot of people in the world like that without a hidden, like you said, a hidden agenda or a capitalistic mind state of, hey, how could I fill my pocket today? And I think that's what's missing in the world right now. And I know it's tough out there. Everybody needs to get it, but I think there's more, and that's what the people I meet at your banquets, they just really want to see other people win and help other people sometimes ease back in, not into society, but ease back into being normal again. Just seeing that, oh man, someone gives a damn about me. And I think that's so important nowadays, man. We need good people.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I really want to a setting.
Yeah.
So my approach, me being me, the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce being who it is, and the various board members that sit on it, that can be very disarming. So the first things I try to tell people is a lot of what you go through in life has to do with just your mindset, but you're not even ready to move in that direction if you're not, let's just say, working out at all. You got to have something, be producing some dopamine, endorphins, and those things come from gut health. They come from, cardio. right? Increasing the oxygen flow, which will essentially allow you to reproduce more neurons when you sleep, right? And the neurons send synapses. Those are the things that say, oh, I feel good. Oh, my arm itch. Oh, I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Those are the things you generate each and every day,
Oh, yeah.
right? So if you're not increasing your lung capacity, increasing your oxygen flow, doing these things, taking a probiotic, eating healthily, you're putting garbage in, you're going to get garbage out.
Definitely.
Right? But it's okay if you are making those decisions and you got to bounce back. That's what we're here for, right?
Giving people an opportunity even when they fall.
Yep.
And I think that's the most important thing in life. I think, and I'm a testament to that. There's times when we fall. It's like, man, I feel like I have nobody to pick me up, and it's like, man, sometimes you gotta pick up. You can pick yourself up, and your self awareness, which I'm kind of glad I have.
Oh yeah.
It's like, man, dude, this isn't you. Let's get together. Like, pandemic kicked my ass. I'm not lying. But once I got through that, it's like, okay, this is the goal. I wanted to coach. I wanted to build a podcast, which I've had a few podcasts since then, a couple of partners, but just life happens, And I'm like, okay, if I want to do this solo, I want to the DJ thing. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna treat every gig like it's my life. Like Jay-Z said, or Biggie told Jay-Z, you gotta treat every gig like it's your first gig. Every song's your first song, and that's kind of how I've always tried to just strive, man. And keep grinding's just the brand. It's not just keep grinding. Like, no, dude, you have great days, bad days. You gotta keep going because it's a cycle. There's gonna be bad days. There's gonna be good days, but what are we gonna do? No one else is gonna. I always say, no one's gonna take care of you like you.
Yeah.
And to keep grinding is kind of the mind state of that, bro. Like and being content. I think being content is not the best thing ever either. Like, we can always enjoy the fruits of our labors, right? I'm sure we all, the day after a banquet, I sit back like, oh man, we did a good job last night. But then there's like, what's the next one? Because we had April, May, June, and then you have the ball in November. Like, those were great. How can we make November? How can we build it? Off what we have. I think we have a great foundation, but that's just the keep grinding mentality, bro, and doing stuff like this to get the word out. And I'm sure we could do stuff like more pods to get the word out. Say, hey, we got this. We got our first ball of the year, and come on out and kind of just tell people who the resources are, and maybe even bring some people who are a part of those resources and tell people this is what we could offer you. I'm going to the chiropractor tomorrow from I forgot, man. What was his name?
Invista.
Tony
from Invista.
Yeah, shout out to Tony. Hooked me up and just could being present at your events. Say, hey man, I'm gonna take care of you on this. Let's just see what we could do, and then we'll go from there. I'm like, all right, because my back has been tender. So I really appreciate, man. Again, just having the opportunity to be a part of this is. I really genuinely mean it. That, like, I'm honored, and I tell you that I'm so honored to be a part of it, bro.
Yeah, man. Well, I think at the core, what you've identified is that people need hope.
Yes, sir.
People need hope, and I think that's what I've identified as well. Is that people need hope, people need help, and people need to support and being motivated to keep on going.
Definitely.
And so, I want to say that, I can see your podcast addressing some faith-based needs, social determinants of health, reaching out to healthcare practitioners, but also people that, really do care to make a difference.
Definitely.
I'd say that the difference that's being made is going to be evident in the program participants. And the program participants need to be able to speak about how they're feeling from engaging with your agency.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, there's not enough measurement of that, right? And how do you do that? Well, you measure those things with measurement tools, things like survey. I mean, observation is arguably a measurement tool as well.
Of course.
But then, you administer these surveys, windshield surveys, assessments. You can count presence as impression, right?
Yes, you can.
Or engagement. Right?
Someone taking the time out of their day, which time is probably time is the most valuable thing we have. To take that time to come to banquets and come to these networking. What's the word we use for? I guess this a networking banquet, right?
Yeah.
That is an impression for sure. That's a great measurable. to assess that.
And then you got to, of course, be tracking the demographic of the people
Yes.
that are coming.
Yes.
So,
Yes, sir. Yes,
what are
sir.
their professions? Are they unemployed? Are they veterans or not? What do they do? What are their ages? What are their genders? And that data, in addition to people receiving the service or engaging with your program, is a good measuring tool for what you actually do well.
Definitely.
And
Yes,
I
sir.
think so. Here's the thing: I'm not a part of. I don't know what other organizations do, but I know for us, we track all that data. When people register for our events, we're tracking all that data, and we're looking that up, and that's something that we hold very near. That's not for sale,
Definitely.
right? But that's how we measure it, and then we have conversations in person to substantiate that, right? And arguably, in an evidence-based or research process, this is what you refer to as fidelity. How do you know that you're actually doing the work correctly,
Definitely.
right? Especially if you're brand new. Well, and that's why I say when you talk about scaling, I'm like, we just started in March, So scaling is out of the question right now. We're assessing the need. We're
Definitely.
seeing if this is something that the community we're analyzing if this is something that the community and the recipients find value in.
Yes.
And so we've determined that there's some value.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
People are feeling the value, but we have to determine if that value will increase or if that value will get momentum. Right. Are we getting volume right now because it's around a certain time of the year, or are we getting momentum? Well, momentum is demonstrated by, volume can come as a result of just having the right price, right time,
Right. No.
something essentially ordinal.
Yes,
you
definitely.
know?
Right now, just say with the gigs, they're picking up because there's no school, so people are hanging out. It's summertime. They're
Yeah.
not really. Now they could spend a little bit more. They're not work. They're not taking the kids to school. They have more time to engage in the event.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I've thought about the way you put it in words. Yes, is the volume because of the time of the year, or is it because of the momentum you're building
Yeah.
from what you established? That's awesome.
And that's strategic
That's so
operations,
strategic,
right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's just strategic planning and operations. But then, you start going into actual corporate strategy and,
Man.
how are you going to create this program around this holiday and how much money do you put into it? Well, if you put more money into the sales force, or then how is that going to generate this return as opposed to putting it into the marketing and branding, right? Those are things that need to be assessed, and so that's where we're at right now, is gauging the impact of everything that we're doing.
And I believe that marketing and branding, honestly, is everything right now in this world, in social media world, the 10-second, because it ain't with the stuff that I put out there. You can see people's engagement on every reel. It could be the best stuff, it could be the worst stuff, but probably 10 to 15 seconds. How could I get you in that 10 to 50 seconds to come back and say, hey, I want to book this guy? And that's the marketing and branding is everything right now, bro. It's like if you have a good marketing and branding plan, you could take. I think you could take your established base and just take it to that next level, right?
Yeah.
And no, I think that's just to hear you put the volume and the momentum. That's spot on, man. It's so spot on.
Momentum comes as a result of an increase in the value. So first, I think you got to understand that all the recipients and the clients, and customers hold all the cards to how valuable you are.
Definitely.
So
Spot on.
You're providing this service. They continue to come and do it, but if you want volume, you would have to lower your price, right? But then that's gonna lower your value, right?
Exactly.
The momentum comes as a result of some other service, something else that you've added,
Yes.
which is allowing you to. It's increasing your value just as a result, right? Of the service or thing that you provided. So I would say the fact that quite frankly, you could generate a package, where you promote the business, you promote their event, photos, and all that, which would arguably give you the momentum to charge more or be considered more value, right? Like if the package is even more inclusive. And
Oh, yeah.
you know, and so that's the kind of stuff that I don't think our veterans necessarily know and have access to, especially when you consider Assembly Bill 2019 and what the provisions suggest for disabled veteran business enterprises. Pretty much all state agencies, especially the Office of General Services, are supposed to be working very diligently to help veterans access state contracts and get contracts with the state. And any other state agencies that have state funding, they have to be seeking out a DVBE or Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise prior to anyone else. They need to be actively trying to seek DVBEs to do business with before anyone else. So they can't just go and say, oh, they need to try.
They need they need attempt before they strive into other, I guess, candidates.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. I had no idea that was a thing, bro.
Yep, Assembly Bill 2019. And so that's a large part of why we're here. We're partnered with the Office of General Services in their outreach division, and that's something that we're working to facilitate here in Kern County.
That's awesome.
So these vets can get those benefits.
And before we end it, man, we're talking about the branding and marketing. I see that something we talk about a lot. You know, with Mrs. Robinson's brand, people need to realize it's not just an Instagram reel. Like, no, we're trying to build your brand and give you the resources that you don't have. Not everybody has the camera. Not everybody's a creative mind. People can't just evolve your. You could just say, hey, let me put a picture out. Like, no, dude, it has to be a set plan here, because this is the marketing and branding. Like you did, it raises your value, and I think if anybody has that, you're gonna get more eyes on your product. And who wouldn't want that, And I think that's the winner right there, bro. And I really, like I said, I'm venturing. I'm working on it. I'm always coming up. Me. I'm always trying to come up. I have so many ideas, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep grinding the baby, man. And before we go, where's it at? Right here. I want to give you. I've always meant to give you one, bro. I want to give you a DJ EC3 shirt, the locker room tag in the back. So great workout shirt, bro. You're a part of this, man. I appreciate.
Hey, thanks so
Ed
much.
Robinson, sir. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, bro. This is yours. Can you please?
I'm gonna wear this in the gym tomorrow.
Please, man. Please, man. I see you out there doing your thing, bro. I see those. I see you. Man, I need to get in there too. Can you plug in all your socials? How people can get in contact with you, and even the ones who would like to join the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce? How can they do that?
Yes, we're happy to support you any way we can. If you want to find out more about the Kern County Veterans Chamber of Commerce, visit our website, www.kcvcc.org. You can also find my wife's strategic branding and communications agency for marketing, all your marketing needs, MyriMediaGroup.com. That's Myriemediagroup.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Edward_Sean_Robinson. That's EDWARD_SEAN_Robinson, ROBINSON. And you can also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Just type my names in, and I'm here to support however I can. If you're interested and you need a social worker, website for the social servant is www.thesocialservant.com. That's THESOCIALSERVANT.com. Much love, y'all. Thank you, Ernie.
No problem, Edward, man. Thank you for coming on episode 157, the Keep Grinding podcast, and we out.